Can a woman
I'll do my
have
best.
a penis?
I think you're talking about, and I'm not going to give you a straight answer on that because that feels like a bit of a gotcha, Camilla, but
You guys ever see some and you're like, that can't be real. That can't really be where we're at. Well, you're going to have that reaction after today's video because we are going to react to a truly extraordinary interview in this quick hit video. Welcome back to the channel. These videos are where I take on viral clips and breaking stories in short form. Yeah, in today's episode or video, we're going to react to a clip from GB News, which, if you don't know, is a right-leaning broadcaster in the United Kingdom. And they interviewed a politician from the Lib Dems, which is, I guess, a center-left party there. And they asked the most basic but hilarious question that they just cannot answer. Anybody who's still at all in grips of the kind of gender ideology or still scared of the trans activists is just petrified of this basic question. And it really is remarkable to see. Let's watch.
Let's talk about another issue that seems to be courting some controversy at your conference, and that's the issue of transgender people. Now, I'm going to ask you a straight question, Wendy Chamberlain, and you try and give me a straight answer. Can a woman
I'll do my
have
best.
a penis?
Y'all, when I decided that I wanted to become a journalist one day, because, you know, we cover the issues that matter, we have so many serious things to debate as a society, I really didn't think this is where we would end up. That we deadass have to ask people, can a woman have a penis? On literal sitting politicians would be asked that by newscasters. But the craziest thing is that this politician goes on to claim that this is a trick question. I'm not kidding. You'll see. You'll see.
I think you're talking about, and I'm not going to give you a straight answer on that because that feels like a bit of a gotcha, Camilla, but I think what...
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to give you a straight answer to the question, can a woman have a penis? The answer would be no, because a woman is an adult human female. And I guess with perhaps extremely rare genetic or intersex condition exceptions, a woman does not have a penis. Like, now you could say, but of course I believe in dignity of trans people and their freedom to live as if they're the other gender or sex, if that's what will make them happiest and all that. And I would really have no issue with that. But it is such a problem for these politicians and these pundits when they just are like terrified to say basic truths because it makes us question their judgment on everything else. It's not that this issue is like what's affecting everyone on a single day basis. It's that it's a sanity test and that it makes them lose trust in these people. And I'm sorry, that is not a gotcha question. If you feel got by it, you might be the problem. Like, am I going insane that can a woman have a penis is now considered a gotcha question? Oh my God, what is going on? Okay, I guess we should keep going, but make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet, like, comment, yada, yada, yada. Let me know, do you consider this to be a trick question, please?
You're talking about is the debate yesterday, the mini debate in relation to changing some of our diversity quotas. And the reason we had a mini debate and the reason why that didn't move forward is because the reality is we have not as yet had the full EHRC guidance, and we would just end up having the same debate again once that came
Hang
out.
on.
So that's what we're waiting for. I think we'll have the debate when the time is right, and we'll move forward. But, you know, I accept the Supreme Court ruling, the party does, and I think it's really important that we respect everybody's rights. I think that's certainly something that Ed would agree with.
Guys, she just rambled about all that. The question was, can a woman have a penis? That was the question. And we just got that word salad about, you know, the internal liberal Democrat or Lib Dem, I think that's what it stands for, party rules about their diversity quotas for trans people that are being debated. She starts saying we need more guidance from the Supreme Court. You do not need more guidance from the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom to answer the question, can a woman have a penis? Only somebody with like multiple degrees and probably, I'm just guessing about this politician here, Oxford, Cambridge educated, something like that. Only somebody that educated could struggle to answer such a basic question. That's my take.
Would agree with.
Okay, so the Supreme Court rules that a trans woman is not a woman. Therefore, it's not a gotcha question to ask you whether a woman can have a penis.
No, it's not a gotcha question, and it actually doesn't matter. Whatever the Supreme Court rules, still not a gotcha question, people.
A penis. The answer to that is a categoric biological no, isn't it?
Well, Camilla, what it said was under the Equalities Act, sex in relation to the Equalities Act meant a biological woman, a woman that was born female.
Yeah.
That's what the Supreme Court ruling said. And I think it's really important that when we look at equalities legislation, we try and ensure that the rights of all are respected. And that is why, and I think that is something that is important and worthy of ensuring that we've got compassion on all sides in relation to this issue.
So this is why I don't really bother to do politician interviews anymore. They just don't answer questions. They just babble and say a whole lot of nothing, and you can't actually get a point out of them in most contexts. So, especially in the remote format, if you have them at the table with you, you can interrupt them more and say, no, answer the question. It's just with this remote format in particular, it's very difficult to get answers. I don't even like doing interviews with politicians anymore. I used to do a lot of them because you can ask the most straightforward question multiple times and they'll just retreat to talking points. And it's exhausting listening to. You can't give us a yes or no on can a woman have a penis. Welcome to UK politics in 2025. I bet the US will be here soon though. I'm not kidding. And I bet you that AOC or many progressive politicians who are all in on trans activism of all kinds, they would struggle to answer this question. Because if you say no, a woman can't have a penis, you'll offend the trans activists. And they're a very radical and punitive group. I'm not talking about all trans people, but the professional activists that the Democratic Party has long been in kowtow to on this issue. They are very radical, very aggressive, and they will come for your throat if you don't fully support their agenda. But if you say yes, 90% of America will look like you're insane. So in that sense, it's kind of a gotcha question, but only because they've put themselves in such a ridiculous position to begin with. You know what I'm saying? It's not really, but I'd be kind of interested to see somebody ask some Democratic politicians this. Let's keep going though.
There are many transgender people.
I'm not lacking in compassion. I've asked you a specific question. Can a woman have a penis? I could have asked you, can a trans woman have a penis? And then you could have said yes. But you can't be possibly telling me after the Supreme Court ruling that a woman can have a penis. A woman cannot have a penis, Wendy Chamberlain.
Camilla, I have just said that I respect the Supreme Court ruling, and I think what's important is we see the HRC guidance that follows from that. I know that all political parties in society are waiting for that. I hope they move forward quickly with it.
What a ridiculous non-answer. That was like a 3-minute clip, and we still were unable with this politician to get to the bottom of the question, can a woman have a penis? What is going on in Western civilization? We're fine. This is fine. Everything is going wonderfully. We're totally not at all cooked. Guys, how could you trust this person on energy policy or foreign affairs when they literally look visibly uncomfortable over being asked the most basic aspects of reality and biology? Like, they're so scared of activists or saying the wrong thing, or I guess in the UK getting freaking arrested by the woke police or something. I don't know. But it's just, that's the thing. I think, obviously, Democrats have a point when they say there's only a tiny number of trans athletes. It's not going to affect most people. Or, there's only a tiny number of trans women. You'll probably never see one in your locker room or what have you. Yeah, I don't necessarily deny that. But some of the questions related to this issue just have become a sanity test and a test to see, like, who is blinded by ideology and who is in the thrall of, like, radical activists who, really, I mean, the actual trans activist crowd, again, not all trans people, holds values totally antithetical to most values that America believes in. The nuclear family, free speech, our capitalism, our way of life. They despise those things. So to me, it's not that I particularly care about like the nuances of what genitalia trans people have. I don't care. Live your life, do whatever will make you happiest. But if you can't answer these basic questions, it makes us doubt your either competence, like just basic sanity, IQ, or how enthralled you are to like radical activists. That's the other thing, because in the case of this woman, she knows the answer very clearly. She's just afraid to say it. And that's actually worse. That's actually much, much worse. At least that's my take. What do you guys think? Are you glad that I blessed your timeline with this clip today? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't yet. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think of these quick hit style videos. If you like the short form content, and remember to check out my long form podcast where I break down internet insanity, media craziness, and political chaos, all from an independent perspective. That's the Brad versus Everyone podcast on all podcast platforms, linked in the description. And with that, guys, we'll talk again real soon.